Hello, I'm Hannah, and this is Hannah's Books. Recently, I spent a week in Boston, Massachusetts, a beautiful old city in the northeast corner of the United States, a city with more than its share of American history and more than its share of colleges and universities, bookstores, and even booktubers, it seems. It's also full of theaters, including one where my son, who fairly recently graduated from college, is now working as a sound engineer. During my week in the city, I saw old friends, stayed in an amazing B&B for a few days, visited a ridiculous number of bookstores and libraries, explored various neighborhoods in the area, and went for several very long walks in stunning natural areas. I also visited an incredible museum I haven't been to in decades. I have a lot to share with you. Today I want to tell you about my hotel, my bed and breakfast, my walk one morning through the nearby Boston Public Garden, and what I visited and who I saw on the other side, the Brattle Bookstore and Steve Donoghue. I flew into Boston's Logan Airport in the middle of the day, took a free shuttle bus to a bus stop fairly near my hotel, and walked along a beautiful street, Commonwealth Avenue, a street which I'll talk about in a future Boston blog, until I saw this flag. I was on my way to the College Club to drop off my bags, rest my feet, and charge my phone. Let me tell you about it and then take you on a little tour of my room. In the 1890s, the College Club took off as a gathering place for educated and professional women in Boston, sort of as an alternative to the all-male clubs around the city and the country and the West in general. It's still actually a membership club that hosts book groups and teas and the like, but it's also a small bed and breakfast with perhaps a dozen bedrooms, and those rooms are not reserved for members or anything like that. When I was planning my trip, I arranged to spend a few nights with a couple of friends, but I also looked into budget hotels in the greater Boston area, thinking I might be in need of a couple of nights to myself while I was checking out new places as well as old favorites in the city. I set a budget for myself, thinking I could afford a couple of nights since I knew that hotel prices are astronomical in downtown Boston. When I stumbled across the College Club and saw their relatively affordable prices, for Boston that is, I realized that 4 nights fit into my budget. And I was thrilled with it as an option. First, it's an extremely convenient and safe location, right next to the public garden, which I'll show you later in this video, and Newbury Street in the Back Bay, which I'll show you in a future video. One of the reasons the bed and breakfast was relatively affordable for me is because they have several rooms specifically intended for single travelers, where 2 single guests share a bathroom down the hall. Another reason was because the rooms don't have central air, which American tourists have come to assume will be provided, although the rooms are very nicely cooled with window units. All sounded fine to me. And then I walked in, and I was so pleased with the charming club. In my room, there was a little desk in the corner, which I put to use a couple of times. I love these bookends on the top of the desk. A reading chair. What I think was a full-size bed rather than a single, and lovely lamps on the side tables. When I thought about an AC unit in the window, I assumed it would occlude not just the view, but also any incoming sunlight. But that was untrue. It was a huge window, and the view was out over Commonwealth Avenue with its very wide, shady median with unidirectional traffic on each side. And the ceilings were extraordinarily high as well, making what was a totally reasonably sized room feel especially spacious and open. I mentioned that every 2 singles share a bathroom, so the hotel provides lovely cotton robes. I hung mine on a door that was locked, but connects with one of the doubles, so people who want a suite can put one together. Next to the door was a lovely old mirrored wardrobe, and then a bookcase full of an interesting assortment of reading material. On the walls, there were pictures of what I'm pretty sure is Tufts University. All the rooms are named after particular colleges, and I was staying in the Tufts room. If I visit again, I think I'll ask if I can try out one of the other rooms just to see the differences. I gather all the rooms are decorated in very different ways. I woke up fairly early each morning before breakfast was set out and did a bit of reading while sitting on the window seat. This is one of those times that would have been even better not to have the window unit installed, despite the fact that I was very grateful for that window unit after long walks on hot afternoons. Here, I'm reading on my e-reader, reading a short book about 3 New England thinkers during the 19th century, focusing specifically on their experiences of grief. More on the book another time. And then I went down the beautiful long staircase, although when I had my luggage, I totally used the small elevator, down to the breakfast room with several tables, a coffee dispenser that serves a whole variety of special coffee drinks, an assortment of teas and juices, bagels, instant oatmeal, yogurt, boiled eggs, fruit, and assorted pastries. This breakfast room also has both a refrigerator for guests and a microwave open 24 hours a day. And in addition, there was also a shelf of books, inviting people to take or leave books if they were interested. After breakfast each morning, I set out for my morning adventures. On this day, first up was an hour or so in Boston's Public Garden, an area that's been an open public space almost since the first English people started to settle in this part of the world. This particular section of the public space was later set apart during the Victorian period using the more ornate and highly cultivated style of the time. Of course, 2 of the most famous parts of the park are both literary, features that now honor Robert McCloskey's classic children's book, Make Way for Ducklings, and E.B. White's The Trumpet of the Swan, although the swan boats actually predate both books. Let me show you. And then, after my time with the Swans, I made my way to the Brattle Book Shop. I arrived a few minutes early, so I got to watch the staff start setting up the sale lot, which is one of my favorite things to watch, honestly. Soon, Steve arrived, and he took this picture of me, although I did not get one of him. And then we had an amazing time browsing for a bit, each of us on our own, but occasionally when we crossed paths, we chatted about particular things we had found. At one point, I snapped this picture of Steve chatting with someone that he seemed to know already. As I remember it, another person then said hello to the two of them. Finally, as the two started to walk away from Steve, a third person came up and said, "Are you the guy?" The man in this picture, the second person to come up, and I all said excitedly, in unison, "Yes, he is the guy." But Steve's fame is not what the young man who asked the question was actually referring to. He thought Steve might be a staff member whose job it was to help people check out in the sale lot. Steve laughed and sent the young man inside to the cash registers. While I didn't ask Steve if he ever goes to the Brattle without having people approach him to talk to him, something I gather is far less common in New England than it is in the southern United States where I'm from, it was nevertheless pretty clear to me, as it has been every time I've been to the Brattle with him, that Steve is a superstar there. Well, after a nice long time exploring the huge outdoor sale lot, Steve and I went inside, where books are a little more expensive, but at least on the lower floors, still quite affordable. Every time I've gone inside the Brattle, I've started browsing on the left side of the store where fiction is shelved. Those books are arranged not by time period or geographical region, but in alphabetical order by author, with criticism and biography of the novelists included with their own books. For example, here you see not just Flaubert, but a few books about Flaubert. I was just thinking about Erewhon the other day when I was talking on this channel about Herland by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. And of course, there is A.S. Byatt, one of my favorite contemporary authors. I'm really not someone who collects particular editions of books, so I never go to the rare and collectible floor when I'm in town. But even on the bottom floor, there are quite a number of beautiful editions. These are gorgeous. And I love these too. Even on the regular shelves, there are often great sets, like these wonderful Worcester and Jeeves books, paired with a biography of Woodhouse by Robert Crumb. And this collection of Jane Austen is great. My own set at home resembles the penguins on the left, but I love the gray taupe small hardbacks on the right. And here is the monthly Brattle whiteboard. This month's theme is beach reads, where everyone who comes in the store is invited to add their suggestions. That's Meg down there in the lower right. I don't know what the whiteboard would be without Meg. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out Steve Donoghue's Instagram feed. Well, there is a lot more of Boston to come, including a Brattle Book haul to show you what I found this day. But it might take me another week or so to put out the next vlog. Does this video qualify as a vlog? I think so. For the next few days, I'll be spending some time with my cousins and my brother. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining me today, and see you soon here on Hannah's Books.